Hi, I'm Anna Claybourne. I'm a children's book writer and I'm really happy to be part of Time to Read and to be making a video for you about my own favourite books when I was a child. I'm going to start with this book. It's called Funny Business and it's by Bronnie Cunningham. I loved this book so much when I was little. As you can see on the cover, it's an amazing collection of odd and curious facts. And I write a lot of fact books now, and I think this book is actually responsible for my love of facts that I've had from such an early age. And it's also very funny. One of the first things in the amazing facts is tree climbing fish. And it says, a kind of fish called Periophthalmus schlosseri propels itself up trees by means of two strong fins, which it uses like legs. It goes for quite long distances over dry land looking for insects to eat. This mostly happens in marshy mango swamps in Malaysia. And that's an amazing fact, but what I especially loved was that there's a cartoon afterwards of the fish chasing an insect up a tree, and the insect says, "Help, this is cheating." And that picture's by Quentin Blake, who's still working today in illustrating books by David Walliams and many other people. And I love those pictures so much in the little cartoons, the little funny bits, and I still try to put funny bits like that in my books today, if I'm allowed to. Find another bit that I really loved. Now, you probably know that Google is not just a search engine, but also, with the different spelling, the name of a really big number. A Google is 10 to the power of 100. That is 1 with 100 noughts after it. So 100 zeros. There you can see your Google. The Google was invented by a 9-year-old boy. That excited me so much because I was around that age, and I just loved how the author brought in the story of the 9-year-old boy who came up with the word. He was a nephew of the American mathematician Dr. Kazner. Dr. Kazner was asking a class of New York children to think of big numbers and names for them, and his nephew suggested the Google. And it's the Google, the number, that gave its name to Google, the search engine, because of course there's so many millions of things on Google. When this book was written and when I was reading it as a child, there was no such thing as Google. So that's all that Google meant to me at that time. It's amazing to look back and see how things have changed since this book was written. You have a 1 in 4 million chance of being struck by lightning. If you stood out in every thunderstorm in England for a whole year, your chances would be 200,000 to 1. So that's a 1 in 200,000 chance of being struck by lightning. Mr. Roy C. Sullivan, a Virginia park ranger, has been struck by lightning 6 times. His hair got burnt twice, and once his big toe was hurt. That's a fact that's changed. Since the book was written, Roy C. Sullivan has actually been hit by lightning another time, and he's now the record holder, although he's since died, not from a lightning strike, for having been hit by the lightning the most times, 7 times, not 6 times. That's a great example of how facts change over time, and what I'm always having to do in my work writing fact books is keep up with the latest facts. So facts aren't stuck forever, they change all the time. So I'd like to thank Bronnie Cunningham. I think she's no longer with us, sadly, but she just inspired me so much, and I'm sure this book is the key to why I became a writer. I've got another book here that I loved as a child, and it's a picture book. So it's for younger children, but I actually think anybody can love this book. It's Sylvester and the Magic Pebble by William Steig, and it's about a donkey called Sylvester and his family. I'll show you a picture of them. They're very happy. Sylvester lives with his mum and dad, and they're a lovely, happy family. And Sylvester's hobby is collecting beautiful pebbles. So he goes out into the countryside finding the most lovely pebbles for his collection. And one day he finds this wonderful red pebble. You can see there. And it's a magic pebble, and when Sylvester makes a wish while he's holding the pebble, it comes true. So he wishes for the rain to stop, it stops. He wishes for the rain to start again, it starts. Sylvester's really excited. He realises he can have anything he wants. He can give his mum and dad anything they want. He's got this magic pebble. But just at that moment, a lion comes along. As he was crossing Strawberry Hill, thinking of some of the many, many things he could wish for, he was startled to see a mean, hungry lion looking right at him from behind some tall grass. He was frightened. If he hadn't been so frightened, he could have made the lion disappear, or he could have wished himself safe at home with his father and mother. Look at the mean lion. He could have wished the lion would turn into a butterfly or a daisy or a gnat. He could have wished many things, but he panicked and couldn't think carefully. "I wish I were a rock," he said, and he became a rock. The lion came bounding over, sniffed the rock 100 times, walked around and around it, and went away, confused, perplexed, puzzled and bewildered. "I saw that little donkey as clear as day. Maybe I'm going crazy," he muttered. And there was Sylvester, a rock on Strawberry Hill, with the magic pebble lying right beside him on the ground, and he was unable to pick it up. Oh, how I wish I were myself again, he thought, but nothing happened. He had to be touching the pebble to make the magic work, but there was nothing he could do about it. His thoughts began to race like mad. He was scared and worried. Being helpless, he felt hopeless. He imagined all the possibilities, and eventually he realised that his only chance of becoming himself again was for someone to find the red pebble and to wish that the rock next to it would be a donkey. Someone would surely find the red pebble. It was so bright and shiny. But what on earth would make them wish that the rock were a donkey? The chance was 1 in a billion at best. Sylvester fell asleep. What else could he do? Night came with many stars. I love this beautiful picture of night. Sylvester's a rock, Pebble's next to him. There's nothing he can do. That fascinated me as a child. I spent so long thinking about how you could be a rock, but still be yourself and think and be inside the rock, but not actually inside a rock, but actually being the rock, and be stuck and be thinking to yourself and being not able to do anything. It haunted me, it amazed me, and it's just the book that made me think and think and think, and that's what I loved about it so much. If you want to know what happens and how there is a happy ending despite those tiny chances, you have to read the rest of it because I don't have time here. It's a fantastic book. And lastly, you might not be expecting this one. This is a very old book, and it's called Roger's Thesaurus. You see how mine's had some sort of coffee spilt on it, and it was old even when I was a child. It was my mum's book before it was mine. And as you probably know, a thesaurus is a book that tells you all the other words that mean the same thing as a word you're thinking of. So, for example, if you want another word for big, you could look up in a thesaurus for other words that mean big, and it would give you, enormous or massive or vast. And it's very, very useful when you're writing because it make your writing a bit more interesting by choosing a different word if you feel like you're using the same word too often. But what I love about this old thesaurus is it's got so many weird and crazy words in it, often words we don't even use anymore. And I can just read it for itself, just as a book to read, because I just find it so interesting. And in fact, when I was looking up some bits to show you just now, I ended up just sitting and reading it for half an hour because I love it. And I used to do this as a child as well. But it's very small, tiny writing, so it wasn't as a small child, but when I was a bit older. So imagine you have a very messy bedroom, and your mum or dad comes in and says, "What a mess." I looked up mess to see what other things they could call your bedroom. And Roger's Thesaurus says, "It's a disarray, a jumble, a mix-up, a huddle, a lumber, a farrago, a mash, a muddle, a hash, a hodgepodge, an imbroglio, a chaos, a medley, a jungle." This is something we often need when we're writing children's books about amazing facts. We often want to say that a fact is amazing, but you can't just keep saying amazing over and over again. So you can use Roger's Thesaurus to look up amazing, and you get surprising, astonishing, astounding, dumbfounding, startling, dazzling, electrifying, stunning, stupefying, petrifying, bewildering, flabbergasting, staggering, astonishing, wonderful, wondrous, stupendous, marvellous. I love it. You can get a thesaurus on the internet now. You don't need to have it in a book. But this book, if you can get a copy, the one by Roger, is the most fun. But you can still just go on the internet and look at any online thesaurus and do the same thing. Find out all sorts of amazing and interesting and cool words. And if you're writing, you can do that to find words to use in your writing too. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.